Hey guys, it's Sam, and today I'm going to talk about the series that I want to read. Now, these are the series that I have not started yet, but really want to read. I'm thinking about doing a video also on the series that I've started and want to continue or catch up on or finish or whatever. So if you're interested in seeing that video, leave a comment down below and let me know. So the first couple of series I want to talk about together because they are by the same author, and that is the Stormlight Archives and Mistborn Era 2 by Brandon Sanderson. I've already read the original Mistborn trilogy, and this is the second era of the Mistborn trilogy, and then this is the first book in the Stormlight Archives. It's actually part one because the UK editions are put into two parts, but I'm going to read it all as one book. I just didn't feel like holding up two of the same book anyway. So these are two series that I really want to read. I have been having a hankering for Brandon Sanderson lately, actually. I've been wanting to read more of his stuff because I just haven't in a while, and I'm reading Skyward this month, which is a science fiction series, but I do want to get back to his fantasy, and I'm very excited to be getting through these. Mistborn is a lot shorter than Way of Kings, which is two of these, and Way of Kings is going to be a very long series, and each book is very long, but I just want to catch up on more of the Cosmere. The second series I want to read is the Dreamblood Duology by N.K. Jemisin. This is just one I happen to own. I also want to read her Inheritance Trilogy, I think it's called. But this is a bind-up of the Dreamblood Duology, and something about this one appealed to me slightly more, although like I said, I want to read all of her series, but this one I wanted to do next after I've already read the Broken Earth Trilogy, which is the first series I read by her, and I'm very excited because this has, I think, more like mythology elements in it from what I remember, so I'm very interested to read this. The next series I want to read is the Imperial Rot Trilogy. I'm not sure how to say that, I'm sorry, and I just didn't want to go get my phone because I'm on a social media detox day and I don't even have it near me. But the first book in this series is Ancillary Justice, and this is a science fiction series, and it follows a character who seems like she's part of like a collective brain, almost like part of a ship or something. So I've heard amazing things about this since joining BookTube. A lot of these series that I have on this list are books and series that I've wanted to read since the very beginning of BookTube, since before I joined it or right after. So these are things that have been on my anticipated reading list for quite some time. Then we have the Queens of Renthea series by Sarah Beth Durst. This sounds wonderful, and I didn't really hear a lot about it. Then the third book came out, and it seems like a lot more people were talking about it, but a lot of people have been commenting and saying that they feel like this is a series that I would enjoy, and anything that is centered around lady rulers is something I'm going to be interested in. Also, these covers are like so pretty. Next we have the Lightbringer series by Brent. This is so chunky of a book, but I've been hearing amazing things about Brent, and that people say that you'd really enjoy him if you like Sanderson but want even more complex magic systems, and this magic system has to do with the colors in the spectrum of light and using those powers to your ability. It just sounds really cool. And I've heard a lot of really good things about Brent, so this is a series that I definitely want to start with of his. Then we have the Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. This is a, I think, quartet, a 4-book series, and I think it's grimdark. I have been interested in this for a couple of years now and then just haven't acquired the books yet for it, but I've heard that if you're a fan of like Mark Lawrence and like The Name of the Wind and Patrick Rothfuss and all of that, that you're probably going to like this series, so this is one that I definitely want to start. Then we have the 12 Kings of Shirakai series. It's not actually labeled on here what the name of it is, by Bradley Baleo. This is one that I've had on my TBR for a while as far as like imminently wanting to read it. I just haven't picked it up yet, but it's one that I've been excited about since I got it. I continue to be excited about it. This is about a woman who is, I think, on a revenge quest and is hunting down these 12 kings for a particular reason, but it's in like a desert setting. It just seems like something I'm going to love, and I'm so excited about it, but I think it's because I'm so excited about it that I'm putting it off. You know, it's that thing that I do. Then we have the Rhyria Chronicles by Michael Sullivan. These are books that I've heard about since the beginning of BookTube. So many people have talked about these. Recently, Sam from Will Read for Booze, who I will link down below, has been talking to me about these even more. It's one of her favorite series, and I've wanted to read it for a very long time. This is more of like a sword and sorcery type series, and it's two guys, Royce and Hadrian. I know these characters' names because I've been hearing about them for years, that are kind of like traveling around and getting caught up in like political machinations and things like that, but they are besties, best friends. So it's something that I'm very interested in, but just, again, have not acquired, but soon. Then we have the Live Ship Trader series by Robin Hobb. I'm currently reading the first trilogy in her world and need to finish that up, but this is the series that I've started Robin Hobb for. The Live Ship Trader series is the one that I've always wanted to read, and plenty of people have said that you can read her trilogy separately, but I plan on reading her entire universe anyway, so I figure I don't want to have to go back if I really love Live Ship and then have to go back, so I might as well just read it in chronological order. But this is about people that apparently create ships that eventually get imbued with like a soul almost, and they become like live ships, and it's like more piratey and stuff. I've wanted to read it for so long. A lot of people were on like a Hobb kick for a while there, and everyone was reading Robin Hobb and everyone was talking about it, and so I really wanted to get into the series and then haven't. I mean, I'm currently, like I said, I'm currently reading the Farseer Trilogy, which is the first trilogy, but it's all to get to this series. Then we have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pierson, which I think is a duology, but Mary E. Pierson is who wrote The Kiss of Deception and that series. I'm forgetting the name of it off the top of my head right now and don't feel like fumbling over it trying to think of it. But that's one of my favorite series, and this is set in that same world, sort of like a companion series to it, it seems like. It seems like it's following different characters and might be taking place after the events of that series, all of that. So I've been wanting to read it. I think the second book is either out or coming out soon, and I haven't read it, and it like amazes me because I was so on top of all of her books as they were released, and it's one of my most like satisfying series that I've ever read. And then I haven't read this one. Like, I don't know why. I really don't know why. Then we have The Bone Witch by Rin Chiapeko. I have wanted to read this since before it even came out. This was on a most anticipated reads list for me before the first book came out. This is about, obviously, Bone Witch, necromancy. Necromancy's my thing. So I really, as I'm wearing a skull scarf. So I've really wanted to read this for quite some time, but then people have been talking about it more recently. Like, I've been hearing about it more. And I believe the series is complete now, so I could just binge read it if I really wanted to. When is the last time I binge read a series? I haven't, but if I wanted to, it would be available to me, and this just sounds something I will like. Some people, I think, got mixed reviews when it first came out. Some people thought it was slow, but I'm okay with slower stories as long as there's enough death magic. And the last series I really want to read is The Divine Cities by Robert Jackson Bennett. I recently read and loved Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett, which is his second series, or at least second most popular series. I think The Divine Cities was his debut, but I'm not sure. So I really want to go back and read this series. The Divine Cities was a series I wanted to read anyway, and I just happened to get to Foundry Side first. But he does sort of like urban fantasy, but actual like traditional fantasy settings, not urban fantasy as in like modern urban fantasy, but urban fantasy is just about fantasy that takes place in cities, and cities are sort of like, the city becomes its own character almost. And that's what urban fantasy is supposed to be about. People associate it with like contemporary fantasy. There's a lot of crossover. Anyway, he writes these stories that take place in these cities, and I am very intrigued by this series and have been for quite some time, and I've been wanting to read it, and I finally will while I'm waiting for the second book of Foundry Side to come out in 2020. So those are all the series that I really want to start and read. Comment down below, let me know if these are series that you have also read or want to read, or if there's any series that you really feel like you want to get to. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.